Good evening and welcome to the 201st edition of The Inventors. Tonight, you'll meet a husband and wife team whose invention raises the question, why might Gundawindi have to change its name? And from New South Wales, a farmer and son have invented a device that they've called a double Dutchman. Does that make you curious? Right. Well, stay with us, and you'll also meet a tractor from South Australia that pours concrete. And from New South Wales, a heart rate monitor invented by a young Sydney man who describes himself as an erratic jogger. But now, let's greet our panel. Ross Quinlivan.
Good evening, family.
Next to him, the mother of inventions, Diana Fisher.
Good evening.
And lastly, Professor Neville Corrie.
Good evening.
Now, our first invention tonight. Now, this machine can't cut down trees, but it can pick up sticks, stones, remove stumps, and cultivate the soil. The stick and stone picker does all this with one man operating. Drive is supplied from the tractor to the picker via a coupling drive shaft. With the picker stationary, the cutting edge at the bottom of the picture, when lowered into the ground, picks up the debris and passes it onto the 3 sets of rotors. The picker's cutting edge now in the ground and the rotors turning, the debris is thrown up onto the steel conveyor belt. Please welcome Dennis and Margaret Gore.
Well, I was going along helping Dennis pick up the sticks and stones.
You mean before this?
Before this
Yes.
came on, yes.
Pretty back-breaking work.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So you bullied him into making something to save your back.
That's right. Yes.
And you are engineering trained, I guess?
Not trained,
But you have knowledge.
Yes.
Great. Neville, what do you think of this?
Well, I think it's a marvellous thing, I believe, that you're not trained. You certainly have plenty of knowledge. It digs in, it cultivates, it in effect rakes, sieves, and then delivers it into the bin. And I think that's a pretty complex set of operations. If you run into a particularly big stump, or say somebody's left a large rock there, or even concrete.
No, when it hits a stump, it either, stops the tractor or pulls the stump out.
Absolutely magnificent. I wish I'd had it when I was helping clear somebody's dam. I was doing what you did, Margaret, pick up the twigs and burn them off.
Margaret, how much can Dennis do in a day? I mean, how much land can he cut?
Jogging has become both popular and fashionable over recent years. This jogger is wearing a heart rate monitor. She carries a digital readout pulsar on which her heart rate is displayed. Holds 3 sensors. These 3 sensors are cabled to the digital readout pulsar, which can be held in the hand or worn on a Gentlemen, belt.
please
greet Rod Savage. Thank you. Now, you're wearing the belt at the moment, and so we can tell that your heartbeat is 130, 131, 133. What should it be?
It's normally about 75.
You're a little on edge, are you? Could you expose yourself a little?
This is a family show.
I see. There it is.
Yeah.
Are you a medical man?
Serviceman for medical electronics.
I see. So you're an instrument maker, in effect. Type.
Serviceman.
Yeah. Right. What do you fancy about that, Dinah?
All of him.
Okay.
I mean, what did you invent it for? Who?
Myself mainly. When I started jogging, I was a little worried I was overdoing it.
And what do you see the unit costing?
I've estimated around 145 in small-scale production.
See, it added to, as an attachment to a digital...
The problem of pouring concrete water tanks at heights above 2 meters prompted inventor Noel Isaacson to produce this hydraulic concrete mixer in a transfer between mixing drum and front-end loader scoop. Please welcome farmer, grazier, Noel Isaacson. No, that's quite a remarkable piece of equipment. What inspired this invention?
Probably laziness. I hate 2 operations where you can do...
What are you doing that inspired this, or that brought up your laziness?
Well, no, there are other things that work mechanically and which attach to the rear of the tractor.
I want to know how much it costs before I get in there buying 1 or 2.
Probably about $800.
Now, the $64,000 question, what is a double Dutchman? Father and son inventors Bob and Ian Bruinsma have greatly increased the power of a conventional bike with a dual drive system. Power for their bike is delivered by arms as well as legs, putting it way out in front of conventional bikes. On the open road, the bike has little trouble handling hills even when the wind is against you. The dual power bicycle provides excellent exercise as the top part of the body is exercised as well as the legs. The pedalling action by the arms gives power to the front wheel through a front-mounted sprocket and chain. This sprocket chain drives the front wheel in a similar fashion to the normal foot pedal, with the crank handle forming the handlebars. With dual drive, you can pedal with your feet and hands, your feet alone, or your hands alone. There's a hub brake on the front, operated by the pedal handlebars. There are also rear wheel brakes operated by a handbrake. For work or just play, the dual-drive bicycle makes a lot of sense. We should like to thank the Northern Suburbs Cycling Club for their help in filming that episode. Now, from Broomshead in New South Wales, Bob and Ian Bruinsma. Bob, which of you or Ian inspired the idea, and which of you built it?
Well, it was my thought, but I wouldn't have been able to finish it as soon as what we did if my son hadn't helped me to work it out.
That's a good team. Now, you were a cyclist already, I gather, and you found, what, that pushing with your feet was getting a bit hard?
Yes, I found myself pushing uphill. I was pushing my knees down with my hands to make it easier, and all of a sudden the idea came to me, if only we could use our hands as well.
Very good idea.
Hands the bike.
Right. Ross, how do you feel about that?
I still think it's a little crazy. Ian, how about coordination? I mean, it strikes me as being a bit like the US president who couldn't chew gum and walk at the same time. I mean, how can you actually do all these things at once? Is it easy?
Well, I found it quite easy, yeah. Well, when we started, I thought it was going to be really hard, and we just for the fun of it. But when we made it, it turned out really easy, and so we went on with it.
Now, I understand the idea really is that because you work both arms and legs, you get more exercise with arms and legs, and you get more power. But do people laugh at you, Bob, when you ride the bicycle?
Yes, they do. They do laugh at me. But we find ourselves, it becomes like a front-wheel drive car, especially when you go around the corners. You have more control over your bike.
And what would it cost, supposing I did have a bike and I wanted to convert it, what would it cost me to buy, say, a kit to convert?
Well, yes, it's a kit, as you say, and the parts cost us $52.
So
that gives you a fair idea.
So it's going to be $90. You pay $90?
Well, I'm like you. I'm still laughing at the sort of funness of doing it. Ian, is it possible? You see, that bike probably wouldn't fit me because I would have to go right down here with the handlebars. Can I move the handlebars? Can I move the saddle? Could you show me what I'd have to do?
Yes. Well, you can easily just undo the nut here.
Right.
And slide it forward and backward if you
Right, and
wish.
the saddle can go up and down like a bicycle.
Like
and if I've got the baby or the shopping, can I put it on the back?
Put it in the back here.
Yeah, well, I'm practical, you see. I've got to have all of that. But you do get more power out of it.
Yeah, oh yes, a lot more, yeah.
It looks very Heath Robinson to me. What do you think, Professor?
I think there's no doubt about the mechanical advantage of being able to use your arms as well, and the exercise would be good for your arms in addition. I had actually a sneak use of this beforehand down the corridors of power of the ABC. I left a number of scars on the walls, mainly because in getting onto it I found that the handlebars tend to go backwards and put on the brake. Is that my fault, or is it the bike's fault?
It is really, because
I know what you're going to say.
when you get onto it, you really push it forward and push some weight on the handlebars. It just as you get onto it, so...
Right. I think it's absolutely fascinating, and don't forget they laughed at whoever it was said the world was round, and at Thomas Edison, so don't bother about them laughing, because your invention is eligible for the Life Be In It Recreation Award of $2,500. Thank you. Now, while the panel collects their thoughts on who's going to win the Travel Strength $1,000 cash prize, let's have another look at tonight's inventions. First of all, from Queensland, we saw the Gore family picking up sticks and stones with this device. Then we jogged with Rod Savage's heart rate monitor. That's from New South Wales. We followed that with Noel Isaacson's concrete mixer from South Australia, and finally from New South Wales again, we met the flying double Dutchman invented by Bob and Ian Bruinsma. 4 good inventions. What do you think, Dinah?
Oh, thank you. Well, I think we've had a great night tonight and all very varied. I thought that Ian and Bob's bicycle was unique and a really very good exercise machine, either going along or if you want to put it on blocks in your garden or garage. Noel Isaacson's hydraulic concrete mixer, a superb idea, time, effort and energy all saved. Ron Savage, the heart pulse monitor, well, for those of you who want to jog, it'll keep you in time with what your heart should be and those cells. But for me, it goes to Margaret and Dennis Gore with their Sticks and Stones, or whatever that lovely title is, because that's the one that's going to also do great things for us. Future,
Thank you, Diana.
food,
Neville.
Well, the double Dutchman bike, I think that might be better as a flying Dutchman, cycling from here to eternity. The heart rate monitor is something I'd like to strap on someone else to see how they're going rather than me. Hydraulic concrete mixer, I think that's very good, but the Sticks and Stones picker-upper, I think that's the best one tonight.
I'll agree with everybody. For once in my life, I'll say Sticks and Stones.
Well, there it is. It's a clean sweep for Dennis and Margaret Gore of Queensland and their stick and stone picker. Dennis and Margaret, would you...